Having arrived at midnight, we expected the drive from the airport to be an easy one. It was more like rush hour. Before crashing after our almost 30-hour trip, we enjoyed the view of the Nile from our room. In daylight, it was much less interesting. We had the first day free to get used to the time shift, so we just loafed around the hotel. Then, the next day, we set off for a full day of sightseeing.
Sat on a bus and toured downtown Vienna, and they were talking to me about buildings like this, and I said, like, oh my God, I paid 60 euro to see what I walk through every day.
Up first, the Saladin Citadel. Started in 1176 by Saladin as fortification against the Crusaders, this served as the home of Egypt's rulers for 700 years. In the early 19th century, Muhammad Ali became Egypt's ruler through a coup and built the enormous mosque that now is the centerpiece of the complex. Our guide gave us a demonstration of the acoustics. From the terrace behind the mosque, one has a great overview of Cairo. The pyramids are visible on a clear day. On to the Egyptian Museum. This statue gives an idea of what all the statues looked like before their paint faded. While interesting, thanks to Walid's commentary, the museum is obviously being neglected while the huge new Antiquities Museum is being built. These sarcophagi were designed Russian doll style, each one nested into the next. Essential to any tomb is the god of mummification and the afterlife. Plus, transport is needed for social calls. In the evening, we visited this market, or souk, which dates back as far as the 10th century. We constantly were in awe of the skill of our bus drivers. Off the main street, we got a better idea of what this area was like pre-tourism. After a needed break from the chaotic market, we headed off to dinner at a local restaurant.
Facing the bus, it's okay. They know we cannot run them over. This desert continues from here to Libya, to Tunisia, to Algeria, Morocco, Mauritania, all the way to the ocean.
One of our days in Cairo was devoted to the pyramids. Up first was the site of the first one built. We usually think of Egyptian temples as being open and airy. They actually were fully roofed over and quite dark. An active dig was being worked during our visit. On to Giza and the Great Pyramid. While the original entry to the pyramid's interior is exposed, it is not used. Tourists enter under it for a rather claustrophobic and stooped climb to see nothing really, just a bare, empty room. The stones are huge. Each one weighs between 2.5 and 15 tons. Alongside the Great Pyramid of Khufu, on the left, are pyramids of Khafre and Menkaure, plus those of 3 queens. Taking a short ride on a camel is an almost mandatory diversion, so of course we did so.
Camel ride, come follow me here.
you, huh?
On to our last stop, the Sphinx, which was a bit of a disappointment for me. It is in much poorer condition and is considerably smaller than I expected. Protected while being mostly buried in the sand, with it now exposed to the elements and severe pollution, how much longer can it survive?